This is Dr. Sridhar back to you with another video session on the problems related to the superposition theorem or superposition principle. See, prove the superposition theorem. Actually, in my previous videos also, so many times we have discussed with some examples, how can we verify the superposition theorem? Now, verification of the superposition theorem can be done in two ways. First thing is, obtain the response at any point in the electrical circuit. You can achieve this by applying conventional principles like the basic principles, not exactly conventional, but the basic principles. So that response, how much you achieved at a particular point in the electrical circuit, that can be verified by applying the superposition theorem. Now here, if you could apply the same concept to this electrical circuit, here there are three electrical energy sources are there. So one is 10 volts battery is there, and next one is one electrical current source is there, 120 amps, and next 40 amps electrical source is there. Now here, prove the superposition theorem for the given electrical circuit, and the response he want to see at this particular point. The point here it was marked with green color. That response is nothing but the I, current I. So how we are going to verify this superposition theorem means, let us calculate this current first. Let this current is nothing but the some current is there. Let the current something we are going to achieve this current. Now what is the method we are going to use for the calculation of this I, current I means, based on with which method we have so much of confidence. Now you can choose any method like Kirchhoff voltage law, you can say take, or mesh analysis you can take, or Kirchhoff current law, whatever it may be. You can take any fundamental laws in which we are so much of confident. Let us calculate this current I. Yes, just record the current and keep it aside. And coming to this verification process, now you go on making one energy source out of all the energy sources are available, make that source as active, at the same instant make the other energy sources as inactive and find the response. So let me make 120 amps as active. Let us calculate the current at the same point and say the current as I1. Same thing, similarly, you activate the 10 volts voltage source and the 120 amps and 40 amps as inactive, and let us record the current at the same point. That current is nothing but the I2 current. Similarly, in the third case, just activate 40 amps and inactivate the 10 volts and 120 amps. Let us record the current at the same point. That is nothing but the I3. Just to sum all these currents, whether these currents are equal to this current or not. If it is not same, then it can be said that this circuit is not having superposition property. Otherwise, generally, normally it happens, this I must and should be equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. That's what our superposition theorem states. So here, so let us examine this with some animated videos. So this is a circuit here, and in this one, what is the activate, which source we have activated? If you could clearly examine, now if you go back to the actual problem, this 120 amps of source, current source, and this 50 ohms. Now these are, looks like a parallel combination. So you can eliminate this complete section. This is the one loop here. And similarly, this is the another section, 120 ohm, and this is a 40 amps of current. So this one. So this is the one loop and this is the another one. So in this one, what happens, 120 ohm resistor is connected in parallel to the 40 amps. And in this one, first one, 120 amps of current is connected in parallel to the 50 ohm. So what is this? With the help of source transformation, you can convert this one into a voltage source in series with some resistance. So that resistance is how much? In the first case, that is nothing but the 50 ohm. And how much of voltage here? The voltage is nothing but V is equal I into R, that is 120 amps of current into 50 ohm. So this is nothing but the 6000 volts. So that is nothing but the 6000 volts. Similarly, let us apply the same concept here. So in between them, how much of voltage source is there? That is 10 volts. And on other side of this 10 volts, also you can have the some resistance and some voltage source. How much of voltage source here? Again, with the help of source transformation, let us reduce this parallel combination into a series combination. So 150 ohm times of 40 amps. So again, here also one voltage source you can get, and this is nothing but resistance is 150 ohm. So this circuit, once it is reduced, then 3 voltage sources and 3 resistors are there. Now we can proceed the verification process or anything. Now whatever the current here, the current between them, that is nothing but this is the current here. So the first source transformation, so 6000 volts and 50 ohm resistor, and second source transformation on the right side of the network, that is 150 ohm, and this is nothing but 6000 volts. So this all the current sources we have converted into the voltage source by using source transformation technique. So in this one, there are 3 voltage sources are there, 2 resistors, 50 ohm and 150 ohm. Generally, my suggestion is, now whenever that resistance is connected in parallel to any current source, better you use source transformation technique to simplify the electrical network. So apply the mesh analysis by using the Kirchhoff voltage law here. So this is 6000 volts minus and plus, and again this is minus and plus 10 volts, and this is plus and minus 6000 volt. What happens? If you could observe here, minus plus, and again plus minus. So this one is in series with this 10 volt source and series opposition to the 6000 volts. So with respect to this 6000 is nothing but it is having negative terminal. That's all. So whatever the total current this circuit is having, because we want to determine the response at this particular junction. So what is this current I? It is the current same as this mesh current. So let me calculate that current first. So I is equal 6000 plus 10 as we discussed, because these are seriously aiding to each other, helping to each other, and this is also seriously but seriously opposite. So because of this reason, I have kept minus here. So 6000 plus 10 minus 6000 divided by the total resistance in this loop. That resistance is 50 ohm, and this is nothing but 150 ohm. 50 plus 150. So the total current is 0.05 amps of current. So what is this? That is the response at the instant where we are going to determine. So I is equal to 0.05 amps. Let us record this value, and at the end, let us verify whether the current I with the help of this superposition theorem is also equal to 0.05 amps or not. Once if it is matched, then the circuit is said to be having superposition principle. So go back to the verification process here. Now this is the actual circuit. They have given 120 amps, 10 volts and 40 amps. Between them 50 ohm and 150 ohm resistor is there. And this total current already we have calculated. This current is nothing but already we have dictating here, that is 0.05 amps. For the reference purpose I am writing here. And how we are going to verify this. So make one active source as active, and at the same instant assume the remaining sources are inactive. Let us use this concept here. So I120 means the current source 120 is nothing but it is active. This is active. If it is active, then this 10 volt source and this 40 amps of current source must be inactive. So how can we make inactive? Because this is the voltage source and this is the current source. Inactive in the sense, this 10 volts should not have any impact on the rest of the elements. So how can we do that? So we are not going to see the response of this 10 volts or effect of this 10 volts in the remaining circuit, means you have to make this as 0 volts. Now 0 volts is in the sense we are going to short circuiting this 10 volt source. So you have to short circuit this 10 volt source by making solid short circuiting across minus and plus terminals. Now this is the way of making inactive or inoperative of this voltage source when other element is assumed to be active in the network. Now this is about the voltage source. Coming to the current source, this 40 amps of current source. I don't want to see the action of or effect of this 40 amps on the rest of the elements, means indirectly we are going to see the current to be 0 amps. Now when the current is 0, when the circuit is broken, or that is nothing but if the circuit is open circuited, then it will not supply any current, or the effect of this current source on the remaining elements is 0. So open circuit the current sources and short circuiting the voltage sources is the way of making inactive in the circuit. So the same principle here also we are using. So I am assuming I120, this current source is active. If this current source is active means now the remaining two sources, this is 40 amps of current source and 10 volts of voltage source make inactive. So this is the way of making inactive. So this is short circuited and this is open circuited. So what about the response here? The response is nothing but here it was marked as I1. So we had to calculate whatever the I1 current. So how can we do that? So again here 120 amps and 50 ohms, these two are nothing but the parallel to each other. Now let us apply the current division principle, because this is completely open circuited and this is the total current we know at this particular point. This is the total current is 120 amps. This is divided into this branch and this particular branch. Anyhow, this current, once it reaches to this junction, it will come back here only. That's the same current this I1 is having. Here, practiceness makes the selection of the principle. What is the principle? Otherwise, generally people will again go back to the conversion of this parallel combination into voltage source, and this is an unnecessary waste of time. So whenever this is there and this is open circuit and only two loops are there, anyhow one loop is shared with the current source. So second loop is nothing but this is 150 ohm resistor is there, and anyhow the current which is flowing through this 150 ohm resistor is the same current as what we are going to see. That current is nothing but the I1 current. So this total current is divided into two parallel paths. Whenever the total current is dividing into the two parallel paths, now we can find out or we can determine the current in individual path by using current division principle. So this current I want to calculate. The current is entering into 150 ohm. I am interested here. So this current is equal to total current into opposite side resistance, that is this resistance divided by the sum of the two resistors. So that is I1 is equal to Is or total current into opposite side resistance, that is 120 into opposite side resistance 50 ohm divided by 50 plus 150, that is 200 ohm. So that is the way of calculating the currents whenever two parallel bonds are available. So I1 is equal to 30 amps of current. So how much of current? Here it is flowing through this 150 ohm, that is nothing but 30 amps. So this is the value. So second one is, now this is the actual circuit here. So V10 is I am going to make active. So that is nothing but this voltage source I am going to make active. So this source and this source are inactive in the nature. So we had to make the two current sources as inactive by replacing these sources with open circuiting terminals. So these are the open circuited ones, and the current here it is, this is I2. So we had to find out the current I2. So how many loops are there? Of course this is open circuited, so nothing it will flow here, and in the first loop also nothing. Basically these cannot be called as a loops. I'm sorry to say. So this is the loop here because it is a completely closed path, and then one voltage source is there, two resistors are there. This current and this current both are same in the magnitude. So how much of current here? That current is nothing but 10 volts divided by 150 plus 50. This is simple. So I2 is equal to voltage divided by 50 plus 150. So the magnitude is nothing but that is 0.05 amps. Just let us record that value here. I2 is equal to 0.05 amps. Now coming back to the third case. Here in the third case, I40 I am going to assume active. So this source is nothing but active. Then this voltage source and this current source we have to make inactive by keeping short circuiting across voltage source and open circuiting through current source. Just to do that. So this is short circuited and this is open circuited. 120 amps is gets open circuited and 10 volts is short circuited. Now here also, now the response we have to calculate, here it is I3. This is I3. Now same current division principle if we could use, here the direction is little bit opposite. Now this is the flow of current. Now whenever it is flowing through this particular junction, now I3 current also we can calculate. This is the one way of flowing the current and this is the another current. It is dividing here because nothing it will flow. This current is nothing. Current entering into the open circuit is 0. So only the division point here, division is occurring at this particular instant only. It is dividing into the two parallel paths. So this current is flowing here like this. Now the thing here you have to observe, this is exactly in opposition to the I3 value. But the desired direction of the current is this one, I3. And only because of the conventional voltage sources and current sources, the current is flowing like this. So this current we can calculate as this current is equal to total current into opposite side resistance divided by the sum of these two. So that is minus 40 because the current is in the opposite direction into opposite side resistance is 150 divided by 50 plus 150. So I3 is equal to minus 30. Or else at the end also you can take this minus directly because the direction is from right to left, but we have calculated the current which is flowing from left to right. That also makes here minus. Nothing more than this. Only this minus tells that these two currents, calculated current and desired current, are in the opposite directions. So this is I3. So we have calculated I1 plus 30, I2 is equal to 0.05 amps, I3 is equal to minus 30 amps. So the verification now, we can do the verification here. So when I1 is active, 30 amps, when V10 is active, that is 0.05, when 40 amps of current source is active, that is minus 30. So finally, the total response is I1 plus I2 plus I3. This is with superposition theorem, SPST. So that is equal to 0.05 amps. Now whether this magnitude is same as the initial current, what we have calculated with the fundamental rules, if it happens, if both the magnitudes are same, we can say that this circuit is having superposition theorem. So superposition principle. So it is happening. So this circuit can be finally say that the superposition theorem has been proved successfully. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching this video.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.